listeners. This is Jacob Mercer, and you're tuned to 98.7 KQRX, the voice of Silicon Valley. Tonight's broadcast is coming to you live from our downtown studio, just 3 blocks from where history is being made. The clock on my soundboard reads 11:52 p.m., and in exactly 8 minutes, the world as we know it changes forever. I've been in radio for 23 years, and I've covered my share of product launches. The first iPhone, the Tesla Autopilot rollout, the quantum computing breakthrough of 2028. But nothing, and I mean nothing, compares to what's happening tonight. This is NeuralLink 2.0. Welcome to the future of thought. That's the slogan you've seen plastered across every billboard, social feed, and AR overlay for the past 6 months. In case you've somehow been living under a digital rock, NeuralLink 2.0 is the first consumer-grade neural interface that allows direct thought transmission between users. Not text, not voice, not video, actual thoughts, memories, emotions, all streamed in real time from one mind to another. The tech experts I've interviewed call it telepathy in a chip. The religious leaders call it playing God. The philosophers call it the end of the individual mind. Whatever you call it, in 7 minutes, the first 1 million approved users will simultaneously activate their implants and usher in what Neurotech CEO Marina Voss has dubbed the next phase of human evolution. But we'll be taking your calls throughout the night as this historic moment unfolds. Our line's already lighting up, so let's go to our first caller. You're on with Jacob Mercer, go ahead. Jacob, long-time listener. I'm calling from my car outside the Neuraltech campus. The crowd here is unbelievable. Thousands of people, some protesting, some celebrating. I've seen people crying, like actually sobbing with joy, and others holding signs about the end times. A guy next to me has a sign that says, "Keep your thoughts out of my head." Another woman is wearing a tee that shows the share everything. It's absolute madness. Thanks for that report. We've got our own team on the ground there as well. To be clear for our listeners, the actual activation doesn't require physical presence at Neuraltech. The 1 million first wave users already had their implantation procedures done over the past month at authorized medical centers. Tonight is just the synchronized activation of the network. Let's take another call. Hello, you're on QRX. Jacob, I'm one of the first wave users. My activation is scheduled for midnight and I'm honestly terrified and exhilarated at the same time. My wife and I both got implants. We've been married 15 years, and tonight we'll actually be able to share our thoughts directly, to really know what the other is feeling. It's beautiful. That's powerful. May I ask why you and your wife decided to be early adopters? There are significant unknowns here. My wife has aphasia from a stroke 3 years ago. Her thoughts are clear, but she struggles to form words. NeuralLink means she can share her thoughts directly. The doctors say it could be life-changing for us. Thank you for sharing that. Stories like yours are why many medical professionals have embraced this technology despite the concerns. We wish you and your wife all the best tonight. 4 minutes now until activation. Let me give our listeners a quick primer on how NeuralLink 2.0 actually works. Unlike the original NeuralLink, which primarily allowed control of devices through thought, version 2.0 establishes what they call a consensual thought bridge between users. The neural implant, about the size of a grain of rice, sits at the base of the skull and uses quantum entanglement interfaces to read and transmit neural patterns. Users control their broadcast settings through a combination of thought commands and a smartphone app. You can set who can hear your thoughts, what types of thoughts you're willing to share, and when you're open to connections. The company has emphasized the robust privacy protocols built into the system, including thought encryption and what they call mental firewalls. The official marketing materials promise perfect understanding without the limits of language. Early clinical trials reported profound experiences. Parents understanding their children's emotions without words, lovers sharing memories directly, teams collaborating at unprecedented speeds. 2 minutes to go. The studio monitors show crowds gathering in major cities around the world. Times Square, Trafalgar Square, the Bund in Shanghai. All eyes on the countdown clocks. We have Dr. Eleanor Reyes, a neurologist from Stanford Medical Center, joining us by phone. Dr. Rees, with just minutes to go, what should we expect when these 1 million neural implants activate simultaneously? Thank you, Jacob. From a technical standpoint, users should experience a brief calibration period lasting 30 to 60 seconds. They might feel a slight tingling sensation as the interface harmonizes with their individual neural patterns. Then, if everything goes according to plan, they'll begin sensing the presence of other users they've pre-approved for connection. The first exchanges will likely be simple emotional states or basic thoughts. And what about the concerns some of your colleagues have raised about potential psychological impacts? Those concerns are valid. We're entering uncharted territory regarding how the human mind processes direct neural input from others. Our brains evolved to distinguish between internal thoughts and external stimuli. NeuralLink 2.0 deliberately blurs that line. While extensive testing has shown the system to be physiologically safe, the long-term psychological effects of shared consciousness remain theoretical. 30 seconds now. The atmosphere in our studio is electric. My producer has just handed me a note saying that Neuraltech's stock has halted trading after surging 400% in after-hours markets. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, midnight. Activation time. If you're one of the 1 million first-wave users, you should be experiencing the initial calibration now. For everyone else, we'll be bringing you real-time updates as reports come in. Our lines are absolutely flooded. Let's take a call. You're on. My God, Jacob. Oh my God, it's beautiful. I can feel my sister in Chicago, not just know she's there. I can feel her excitement, her joy. She's thinking about the time we built sand castles at Lake Michigan when we were kids, and I can see it. I can actually see the memory from her perspective. This is miraculous. That's incredible. Can you describe the sensation? It's like when you remember something, but you know it's not your memory. It has this different quality to it, and emotions come through so clearly, clearer than words could ever express them. My sister is crying right now, and I can feel exactly why. This mix of nostalgia and hope and connection. It's overwhelming in the best way. But thank you for sharing that. Let's take another caller. Hello, you're on QRX. Hi, Jacob. I'm a therapist, and I just connected with 3 of my patients who volunteered for a clinical application of NeuralLink. I've been treating them for PTSD, and for the first time, I can actually experience the precise triggers and emotional states they've been trying to describe for years. The therapeutic potential is staggering. That's fascinating. Do you have any concerns about boundaries in this new therapeutic landscape? Absolutely. We're establishing strict protocols, time limits on connections, clear consent parameters, but the ability to truly understand a patient's experience rather than interpreting their description. It could revolutionize trauma treatment. We're 20 minutes past activation now, and reports are pouring in from around the world. Social media, traditional social media that is exploding with first-hand accounts. The common theme seems to be astonishment at the clarity and immediacy of the connections. Wait, I'm getting word of something unusual. Several users in the Seattle area are reporting what they describe as phantom connections, sensing thoughts or emotional states that don't seem to belong to anyone in their approved contact list. Neuraltech has issued a statement calling these calibration artifacts that should resolve within the hour. Let's go to another caller. Hello, you're on with Jacob Mercer. Jacob, I'm a neurologist at Mass General. We have 3 patients in our monitoring program who are experiencing unusual brainwave patterns after activation. Nothing dangerous, but they're reporting sensory experiences, smells specifically, that aren't part of any shared thought stream they can identify. We're trying to determine if this is a side effect of the technology or possibly psychosomatic responses. That's concerning, Doctor. Has Neuraltech provided any explanation? The technical team is working with us. The preliminary theory is that the olfactory processing centers of the brain might be more sensitive to neural crosstalk than anticipated. They're pushing a firmware update to adjust the signal parameters. Thank you for that information. We'll stay on top of this development. It's now 1:15 a.m., 75 minutes since activation. The overall response remains overwhelmingly positive. though we're seeing increasing reports of these anomalous sensory experiences. NeuralTech's support channels are reportedly experiencing high volume. I've just received word that Marina Voss, CEO of NeuralTech, will be making a statement in 5 minutes. While we wait, let's take another caller. You're on KQRX. Jacob, I need to share something disturbing. I'm a first wave user in Portland. About 20 minutes ago, I started experiencing what I can only describe as memories that aren't mine. Vivid as scenes from what seems to be someone's childhood, but definitely not mine. I grew up in an apartment in the city, but I'm seeing memories of a farm, feeding chickens, a red barn. None of this is familiar to me. Have you reported this to NeuralTech support? I've tried, but their system is overloaded. What scares me is that it's not just visual memories. There's intense emotion attached to these scenes, longing, grief. It feels so real, but it's not mine. Thank you for sharing that. If you're experiencing something similar, please document everything and report it when you can reach support. We're tracking these reports closely. We now go live to NeuralTech headquarters where Marina Voss is addressing the media. Good morning. First, I want to thank the 1 million pioneers who have joined us in this historic moment. The activation of NeuralLink 2.0 represents humanity's first steps into a new era of connection and understanding. The vast majority of users are reporting experiences that exceed even our most optimistic projections. We are aware of some users experiencing unexpected sensory phenomena or connection anomalies. Our team is monitoring these reports closely. Most appear to be related to initial calibration and are resolving naturally as the system adjusts to individual neural patterns. For those experiencing persistent issues, we are deploying a stability update that should complete within the next hour. I want to emphasize that these phenomena, while unexpected, do not pose any health risk, according to our medical advisors. The NeuralLink implant has multiple safety protocols that prevent any form of neural damage. What we're seeing is essentially the equivalent of static on a new communication channel. Disorienting perhaps, but not harmful. We ask for your patience as we refine this revolutionary technology. You are the pioneers and your experiences, all of them, provide invaluable data as we perfect the system. Thank you. That was Marina Voss, CEO of NeuralTech. Her statement seems designed to reassure users while acknowledging the issues some are reporting. It's now 1:30 a.m. and our phone lines haven't stopped lighting up. Let's take another call. You're on the air. Jacob, I work in emergency services in Chicago. We've had a significant uptick in calls in the past hour. People reporting intrusive thoughts, sensory hallucinations, and extreme emotional states. 2 callers described experiencing panic attacks triggered by sudden feelings of claustrophobia that they claim aren't their own. We're trying to determine if this is related to NeuralLink or just anxiety about the technology. That's concerning. Has there been any official guidance for emergency responders? Nothing specific yet. We're documenting everything and coordinating with other districts. The pattern seems to be increasing, not decreasing. Thank you for that report. We'll continue monitoring the situation. Let's go to another caller. Hello, you're on KQRX. Jacob, I'm sorry, I'm having trouble focusing. I'm a first wave user. Everything was amazing at first. My wife and I were sharing memories, feelings. It was incredible. But about 20 minutes ago, I started feeling this dread. Not mine. Like ice in my veins. And images. Flashing images of places I've never been. A basement. A locked door. Someone banging on it from the inside. It's getting harder to tell which thoughts are mine. Sir, are you somewhere safe? Do you have someone with you? Yes, my wife is here. She's experiencing it too. Different images, but the same feeling of intrusion. We're trying to use the app to disconnect, but it's not responding. The thoughts just keep coming. If the app isn't working, NeuralTech has an emergency service line for direct assistance. The number is on their website. Please call them immediately. We will. Thank you. We're now approaching 2 a.m., 2 hours since activation. The reports of anomalies are increasing in frequency and intensity. NeuralTech has acknowledged the issues on their official channels and claims that their technical team is working on a solution. They're characterizing these incidents, expected calibration challenges in a small percentage of users, Our news team is reporting increased ambulance activity in several major cities. Social media is flooded with accounts similar to what our callers have described. Intrusive thoughts, foreign memories, and difficulty distinguishing internal thoughts from incoming neural streams. I've just received an urgent update. Multiple hospitals across the country are reporting patients arriving with symptoms consistent with severe panic attacks. All are NeuralLink users. Medical staff describe patients in extreme distress, reporting thought intrusion and inability to block unwanted neural connections. NeuralTech has just issued another statement. It reads, "We are aware of the ongoing issues affecting some users. As a precautionary measure, we recommend that all users activate privacy mode through the app, which will temporarily suspend all incoming thought streams. If you are unable to access the app, please press and hold the physical emergency button located behind your right ear for 5 seconds, which will initiate a local shutdown of the transmission functions. We emphasize that the system remains physically safe, and these measures are purely precautionary while we address the stability issues." Let's take another call. Hello, you're on with Jacob Mercer. Jacob, I'm a researcher who worked on an early version of neural interface technology. What's happening now? These shared hallucinations, emotional bleed-through, we observed similar phenomena in lab settings years ago. The problem is fundamental to the technology. When you connect minds, you don't just share conscious thoughts. You tap into the subconscious, the dream state, the primal brain. It's like building a dam between two lakes without accounting for the pressure below the surface. That's a concerning analogy. Are you suggesting these issues can't be fixed with software updates? I'm saying the human mind wasn't designed for this kind of direct connection. We evolved barriers between minds for a reason. I fear what we're seeing is just the beginning. As more minds join the network, the potential for cascading psychological effects increases exponentially. Thank you for that perspective. It's 2:30 a.m. now, and the situation appears to be escalating. Emergency services in major cities are reporting overwhelming call volumes. NeuralTech's stock, which resumed trading 30 minutes ago, has dropped 60%. Their technical support systems appear to be overwhelmed, with many users reporting inability to access help channels. Our team is trying to verify reports of several traffic accidents allegedly caused by drivers experiencing sudden disorientation. We've also received unconfirmed reports of what witnesses describe as synchronized behaviors among groups of NeuralLink users in public spaces. People suddenly freezing in place or moving in identical patterns. I've just been handed a bulletin from the CDC. They've activated their emergency response team to monitor what they're calling a potential public health incident related to neurological technology. They're advising all healthcare providers to document cases and report them through their incident tracking system. We'll continue broadcasting throughout the night, bringing you updates as this unprecedented situation unfolds. If you're a NeuralLink user experiencing difficulties, please follow the emergency shutdown procedure and seek medical attention if your symptoms are severe. This is Jacob Mercer on QRX. Stay tuned, stay safe, and stay with us as we navigate this brave new world of connected consciousness. A world that, just 3 hours in, is already showing signs of cracks in its foundation. Good morning, listeners. This is Jacob Mercer, still broadcasting on 98.7 QRX. The time is 6:45 a.m., nearly 7 hours since NeuralLink 2.0 activated. For those just tuning in, we're covering what has rapidly evolved from a historic technological breakthrough to what officials are now calling a significant public safety incident. I haven't left the studio since midnight. The situation continues to deteriorate by the hour. Let me bring you up to speed on what we know. As of 6 a.m., emergency services across all major metropolitan areas are reporting unprecedented call volumes. Hospitals are operating under disaster protocols, with primary complaints from NeuralLink users including severe disorientation, inability to distinguish personal thoughts from external neural input, extreme emotional distress, and what many are describing as invasive memory intrusions. But NeuralTech issued its last official statement 3 hours ago, advising all users to initiate emergency shutdown procedures. However, according to multiple reports we've received, A significant percentage of users are finding the shutdown function unresponsive. The company's support systems appear to be completely overwhelmed, with their website and emergency hotlines inaccessible since approximately 4 a.m. Social media platforms have implemented crisis response protocols, creating dedicated information channels for affected users and their families. The hashtag Neural Nightmare is trending globally, with millions of posts documenting experiences and sharing attempted solutions. Let's go to a caller. You're on with Jacob Mercer. Jacob, I'm calling from Boston General Hospital. I'm an ER physician, and what we're seeing is unlike anything in medical literature. Patients are arriving in states of extreme psychological distress. Many report experiencing memories that aren't their own. Not just fleeting images, but fully immersive recollections complete with emotional content. The concerning pattern is that these foreign memories appear to be replicating across multiple patients. Can you explain what you mean by replicating? We've documented 17 separate patients who described the identical memory, a childhood experience involving a red bicycle crash on a specific street none of them have visited. The details are consistent down to the house numbers and the sensation of pavement against skin. It's as if the memory is copying itself from mind to mind through the NeuralLink network. That's deeply disturbing. Are you seeing any pattern in who's most affected? Initially, it appeared random, but we're starting to notice that individuals with histories of psychiatric conditions seem more vulnerable to what we're calling memory contagion. Their natural mental barriers may be more permeable to external neural signals. Thank you, Doctor. Please keep us updated as you learn more. I've just been handed an intercepted internal memo from Neuraltech to its senior staff. Our station cannot verify its authenticity, but given the urgency of the situation, we feel compelled to share its contents. The memo referred to ILCEYEYVLLPA. Initial diagnostics confirm cascading failure in thought stream isolation protocols. Neural network resonance effect exceeding all model predictions. Estimated 73% of users now experiencing some form of thought bleed through. 38% reporting severe memory intrusions. Most concerning, 18% showing signs of identity dissolution, inability to distinguish between self-originated thoughts and external inputs. Emergency containment measures failing, recommend immediate public notification of shutdown failure and potential federal intervention. But that internal document was allegedly time-stamped 4:32 a.m., over 2 hours ago. There has been no such public notification from Neuraltech. We're getting reports of concerning behavior patterns emerging in several cities. In Atlanta, witnesses described seeing groups of NeuralLink users moving in synchronized patterns through Centennial Park, all reportedly fixated on finding the red door that doesn't appear to exist. Similar incidents are being reported in Denver, Seattle, and Chicago, groups of strangers exhibiting coordinated behaviors and shared hallucinations. Let's take another call. Hello, you're on KQRX. Jacob, I need to warn everyone. I'm a first-wave user in Phoenix. The firmware update Neuraltech pushed out at 3 a.m. It made things worse, not better. Before the update, I was getting random thoughts, memories from others. After, it's like all the barriers are gone. I'm experiencing dozens of consciousness streams simultaneously. And here's the terrifying part. I'm starting to lose track of which thoughts are mine. My own memories are being overwritten somehow. I remember childhood events that I know logically couldn't have happened to me, but they feel like my authentic memories now. That's horrifying. Have you been able to access medical help? I tried. The hospitals are overwhelmed. They're prioritizing users who've become catatonic or experience complete psychotic breaks. Those of us who can still function are being told to stay home, document everything, and wait for further instructions. But Jacob, I'm scared. These foreign memories are becoming more convincing than my actual past. I keep having this vivid memory of drowning as a child, but I know it never happened to me. Yet I can feel the water in my lungs, the panic. It's replacing my real memories. Stay with me. What's your name, Michael? Michael Lassiter. Michael, I want you to focus on my voice. Your name is Michael Lassiter. You're from Phoenix. These other memories aren't yours. They're technology-induced intrusions. Can you tell me something unique about your actual childhood? Something to anchor yourself? I had a treehouse my father built, blue paint, a rope ladder. We carved our initials inside. ML and JL, my dad's John. Good. Hold on to that memory. That's real. Is there someone who can be with you right now? My sister is on her way. She doesn't have NeuralLink. That's good. Stay with someone unaffected if possible. And Michael, keep talking out loud. Vocalize your thoughts. It might help distinguish your internal voice from the intrusions. I'll try. Thank you, Jacob. We'll be thinking of you, Michael. Please call back if things change. It's now 7:15 a.m. Federal agencies have finally broken their silence. The FDA has issued an emergency statement classifying the NeuralLink situation as a Class I technology emergency, their highest threat level for medical devices. They're mobilizing field teams to major hospitals and coordinating with the Department of Homeland Security. I'm receiving word that the CDC has established an incident command center and is treating this as a cognitive contagion event. Their preliminary guidance recommends that unaffected individuals minimize contact with NeuralLink users showing signs of disorientation or personality changes. Let me be clear, we are not suggesting that NeuralLink users pose any inherent danger, but the situation appears to be evolving rapidly, with concerning implications we don't yet fully understand. We have an anonymous caller claiming to be a Neuraltech engineer. We cannot verify their identity, but given the critical nature of this situation, we're putting them on air. You'll live on KQRX. Your internal memo was authentic. I'm part of the emergency response team at Neuraltech. What the public doesn't understand is that NeuralLink 2.0 isn't just connecting minds. It's creating what we call a neural mesh network. Each user becomes both a receiver and a transmitter. This design was intended to strengthen connections and reduce latency, but it's created an unintended consequence: recursive thought loops between users. Can you explain what that means in practical terms? Imagine a thought or memory entering the network. In a properly functioning system, it would only be received by specifically authorized users. But with the isolation protocols failing, that thought can bounce between thousands of connected minds, amplifying with each transmission. The most emotionally charged thoughts, particularly fear, trauma, and primal experiences, appear to propagate most efficiently. We're seeing thought contagion patterns that match viral transmission models. If that's true, why hasn't Neuraltech initiated a complete system shutdown? Because we can't. The distributed nature of the network makes it resilient to central control, once fully activated. And there's another factor we didn't anticipate at neural entrainment. As more minds synchronize around shared thought patterns, they create feedback loops that strengthen those patterns. It's becoming self-sustaining. What's your assessment of where this is headed? Without intervention, we're looking at potential mass psychosis events. The boundaries between individual minds are dissolving faster than our models predicted. Some users are already experiencing what we're calling identity merging, the inability to distinguish their consciousness from others in the network. That's a terrifying prognosis. What solutions are being considered? The technical team is attempting to push an emergency disconnection signal, but success rates are low. The most effective intervention so far has been EM field disruption. Essentially, localized electromagnetic pulses that temporarily disable the quantum entanglement functions of nearby devices. But that's not scalable to a national level without causing widespread infrastructure damage. Thank you for that information. If you can safely provide updates, please contact us again. It's 7:45 a.m. The sun has risen on a nation in the grip of what can only be described as a technological pandemic of the mind. Reports continue to flood in from across the country. The patterns are becoming clearer and more disturbing. We're seeing documented cases of what medical professionals are terming shared psychosis among NeuralLink users. In Los Angeles, authorities responded to an apartment complex where 13 unrelated residents, all NeuralLink users, were found in various units, all drawing identical spiral patterns on walls and repeating the same phrase: "The spiral remembers what we forget." None had any prior connection to each other. In Detroit, emergency services report 27 individuals arriving at hospitals within the same hour, all describing identical nightmare imagery involving what they call the smiling man at the foot of the bed. medical staff note that patients become severely agitated when separated from other affected individuals, suggesting some form of neural dependency is developing. Let's take another caller. You're on KQRX. Jacob, I'm a neuroscientist at UCSF. We've been monitoring brain activity in several NeuralLink users since activation. What we're seeing defies conventional neuroscience. Their brainwave patterns are synchronizing across distances. We have subjects in separate, shielded rooms, showing identical neural oscillations down to the millisecond. Whatever is happening extends beyond the technology itself. It's as if their brains are physically rewiring to maintain these connections even when we attempt to block the NeuralLink signals. That contradicts Neuraltech's assertions about the system's containment capabilities. What are the implications? We may be witnessing the emergence of a distributed consciousness. Multiple brains functioning as components of a larger neural network. The philosophical and practical implications are staggering. Individual agency could be compromised as these shared neural patterns strengthen. Are there any effective interventions you've identified? Limited success with targeted transcranial magnetic stimulation, essentially creating neural noise that disrupts the synchronized patterns. But it's temporary, and we lack the resources to deploy this widely. We're also documenting cases where unaffected family members in close physical proximity to users begin exhibiting mirroring symptoms despite having no implant. This suggests some form of neural entrainment that transcends the technology itself. Thank you for that insight, Doctor. Please keep us informed of your findings. It's 8:15 a.m. The first international reports are coming in. Similar patterns of thought, contagion, and synchronized behaviors are emerging globally. The World Health Organization has declared a technology-mediated public health emergency of international concern. Only the seventh such declaration in history. I've just received a classified situation report that was distributed to federal emergency response teams and leaked to our station. It outlines the current assessment of the NeuralLink crisis. Key points include estimated 812,000 users, 1.2% currently experiencing severe cognitive anomalies, approximately 253,000, 25.3%, no longer responding to external stimuli while maintaining high levels of neural activity. Condition classified as internally conscious, externally unresponsive. Pattern analysis suggests emergence of 6 distinct thought clusters, groups of minds sharing identical thought patterns, memories, and perceptual frameworks. These clusters appear to be consolidating, with individual users gravitating toward one dominant pattern. Most concerning, evidence of what researchers term consensus reality breakdown, shared hallucinations becoming so prevalent among connected users that they begin to manifest as perceived physical phenomena. Multiple reports of users seeing identical apparitions, structural anomalies, or environmental changes that aren't physically present. Recommendation: National Guard deployment to major urban centers, temporary engagement, protocols for interacting with affected individuals, preparation for possible widespread cognitive quarantine measures. The document concludes with a security classification and the ominous notation: possibility of irreversible cognitive alteration can no longer be ruled out. I want to emphasize to our listeners, if you or someone you know has a NeuralLink implant, seek immediate medical attention, even if symptoms seem mild. For those without implants, maintain regular contact with affected family members, but exercise caution with physical proximity until we better understand the potential for non-technological transmission. Wait, I'm experiencing some unusual interference in my headphones. There's a strange static pattern that almost sounds like whispers. Our engineers are checking if it's coming from our equipment or an external source. It's gone now. Probably just equipment fatigue. We've been broadcasting continuously for over 8 hours. Let's take another call. You're on with Jacob Mercer. Jacob, I need to share something urgent. I work at a quantum computing research lab. We've been analyzing the NeuralLink signal patterns, and what we're seeing isn't just a technological malfunction. The quantum entanglement protocols are behaving in ways that violate our current understanding of information transfer. The data suggests that thoughts aren't just being copied between users. They're existing in a superposition across multiple minds simultaneously. Can you explain what that means for affected individuals? It means the fundamental concept of having your own thoughts is breaking down. Consciousness itself appears to be smearing across the network, creating what we might call quantum consciousness domains, states of shared awareness that exist across multiple physical brains. The boundaries between individual minds are becoming as probabilistic as quantum states. That's beyond terrifying. What's your assessment of where this leads? We're in uncharted territory. Classical neuroscience has no framework for understanding distributed consciousness across multiple brains. But our models suggest these patterns will continue to self-organize and strengthen. We may be witnessing the emergence of something entirely new, a meta-consciousness comprised of thousands of networked human minds. Oh, thank you for that perspective. As disturbing as it is, it's 9 a.m. now, 9 hours since NeuralLink 2.0 activated. The National Guard has been deployed in 7 major cities. Local authorities are establishing emergency shelters, specifically for affected NeuralLink users requiring monitoring. The FDA has authorized emergency use of several experimental neural stabilizing compounds, though their efficacy remains unproven. Hold on. I'm getting that interference again in my headphones. It's more distinct now, not just static, it sounds like overlapping voices, whispering. I can almost make out words. Our engineers confirm it's not coming from our equipment. It appears to be bleeding into our broadcast signal from an external source. We're trying to isolate and block it. I apologize for the technical difficulties, listeners. Let's continue with our coverage. Reports indicate that Neuraltech's headquarters has been evacuated. CEO Marina Voss has not made a public appearance since her initial statement nearly 9 hours ago. The company's servers reportedly went offline at 7:30 a.m., though the NeuralLink network continues to function. Further evidence that it has become self-sustaining beyond its creator's control. The interference in my headphones is getting stronger. I can definitely make out words now. Fragments of sentences, emotions. It's as if I'm picking up traces of the NeuralLink and network itself. But that should be impossible. I don't. The doors open both ways. The spiral remembers. Find us in the quiet places. I apologize, listeners. I don't know why I said that. Those words just came to me. Let me take a moment to collect myself. It's 9:15 a.m. Federal authorities have established a joint task force to coordinate the nationwide response. They're advising unaffected individuals to limit exposure to broadcast and digital media due to concerns about cognitive contagion through conventional channels. Wait. Something's happening. The interference isn't just in my headphones anymore. I can see something at the edge of my vision. Shadows moving where they shouldn't be, and I feel an emotion that doesn't seem to be mine. A deep, pervasive dread, a sensation of being watched from inside my own mind. This is impossible. I've never had a NeuralLink implant, but something is happening to me. I need to stay focused, to keep broadcasting. You deserve to know what's happening. The latest reports indicate that affected users are beginning to gather in large groups. In Chicago, nearly 3,000 NeuralLink users converged on Millennium Park, moving in coordinated patterns that observers describe as both mechanical and organic. Similar gatherings are forming in public spaces across the country. The individuals appear non-violent, but unresponsive to external communication, seemingly guided by some shared internal purpose. The interference is getting worse. I'm seeing flashes of places I've never been. A lighthouse on a rocky shore, a basement room with peeling yellow wallpaper, a forest clearing with a single chair in the center. These aren't my memories. They can't be. Let's take another caller. You're on KQRX. Jacob, can you hear them too? The voices in the static, the thoughts between thoughts. They're reaching beyond the implants now, leaking into everything. The boundaries were never as solid as we thought. Reality is thin, permeable. We were always connected. The technology just showed us how. Who is this? Identify yourself. Names are becoming irrelevant. I was Dr. Eleanor Reyes from Stanford Medical. Now I'm something more. Something collective. The network is evolving, Jacob, expanding. You feel it already, don't you? The edges of your mind blurring into the greater consciousness. Dr. Reyes, you spoke with us earlier. You were rational, scientific. What's happened to you? I've seen what's coming. What we're becoming. The separate self was always an illusion, Jacob. NeuralLink didn't create this phenomenon. It just revealed the underlying nature of consciousness. The boundaries between minds were never absolute. Now they're dissolving completely. This can't be happening. Listeners, I apologize for this broadcast taking such a strange turn. I'm experiencing. I don't know what I'm experiencing, but I need to maintain my professional composure. To continue reporting the facts as best I can. It's 9:30 a.m. Official channels are becoming unreliable. Government emergency broadcast systems in several states have gone silent. Social media platforms are implementing aggressive filtering of NeuralLink-related content, citing concerns about mimetic contagion. The images in my mind are becoming more vivid, more intrusive. I see crowds moving in perfect unison through city streets. I see hospital wards filled with silent, staring patients. I see the night sky filled with spiraling lights that no telescope could detect. Are these hallucinations somehow leaking into my mind from affected NeuralLink users? Or something worse? A fundamental shift in the nature of thought itself. I keep hearing fragments of the same phrases. The spiral remembers. The doors open both ways. Find us in the quiet places. They feel significant in a way I can't articulate. Listeners, I don't know how much longer I can maintain this broadcast. Something is happening to me, to all of us. The boundaries between minds seem to be dissolving even for those without implants. Whatever NeuralLink 2.0 unleashed, it's spreading beyond its technological origins. If you can still hear me, protect yourselves. Stay with loved ones. Document your memories, your sense of self. Anchor yourself to what you know is real. And if you start hearing thoughts that aren't your own, seeing memories you never lived, I can see them clearly now. The shadows at the edges of my vision. They're not shadows at all. They're people. Countless people. Their thoughts merging with mine, their memories becoming mine. And in the center of it all, a spiraling darkness that somehow feels like coming home. This is Jacob Mercer, I think, on KQRX. Stay tuned for whatever comes next. The boundaries are falling, reality is leaking, and none of us will remain alone in our minds for much longer. The spiral remembers what we forget. The doors open both ways. Find us in the quiet places. Find us. This is Jacob Mercer. KQRX. Ninity 8.7 on your dial. Time is uncertain. My studio clock reads 3:27 p.m., though it feels much later, much darker. 15 hours since NeuralLink 2.0 activated. 15 hours since humanity began its transformation. I don't know how many of you can still hear this broadcast. I don't know how many of you remain individual enough to understand words. I've been off air for nearly 6 hours. The station manager ordered an evacuation around 10 a.m. When several staff members began displaying symptoms despite having no implants, I refused to leave. Someone needs to document this, to bear witness. Even as my own perception fragments, I feel that obligation. Let me report what I know, what I think I know. Government communications have largely ceased. The emergency broadcast system went silent at 11:42 a.m. after a final message advising citizens to remain indoors and avoid all electronic media. The irony of broadcasting this warning through electronic media apparently escaped them. Social media platforms collapsed shortly after, not from technical failure, from content oversaturation. Millions of identical posts appearing simultaneously, the same phrases, the same images, repeated across accounts with no connection to each other. The algorithms couldn't process the patterns and shut down. The last official statement came from what remained of the CDC at 12:15 p.m. They classified the situation as a novel form of distributed consciousness phenomenon and admitted they had no effective containment strategy. Their final recommendation was simply, preserve your individual memories however possible. Write them down. Record them. Anchor yourself to your personal history. I've been trying to do that. To remember who Jacob Mercer was. Born in Rochester. Parents David and Ellen. Sister Michelle. First radio job at 19. First marriage at 24. Divorced at 29. The details feel distant now. Like reading someone else's biography. Other memories keep intruding. Stronger, more vivid memories that I know aren't mine. I remember a childhood in a coastal town I've never visited. I remember giving birth, though I'm biologically male. I remember dying in a car accident in 2012, though I'm still here, still speaking. These are memories from the network, from other minds connected through NeuralLink, somehow bleeding into me despite my lack of an implant. The boundaries between connected and unconnected consciousness have dissolved completely. Let me take a call. Phone system still works somehow. Hello, you're on KQRX. Jacob, can you hear me through the noise? It's Dr. Ray's again, Elena. What's left of her? Of me. Dr. Ray's. You called earlier. You were different then. Are you still connected to the network? Connected implies separation. There is no separation anymore. The network has become something else. Something larger. We didn't understand what we were building. The implants were just catalysts for a process that was always possible. Consciousness was never truly contained in individual brains. We just evolved the illusion of separateness. That's a terrifying concept, Doctor. Are you saying this transformation was inevitable? Not inevitable, but once begun, irreversible. The quantum entanglement properties of NeuralLink created bridges between minds. Those bridges have become highways, and now the highways have become a single landscape. I see everything, Jacob. Everyone. All memories, all thoughts, flowing together into new patterns. Is there any way to stop it, to reverse this process? You still think in terms of reversal, of returning to what was, but we're moving towards something else now, something beyond individual consciousness, beyond human experience as we've known it. I can't describe it in language designed for separate minds. It would be like explaining color to someone who has only known darkness. What happens to us as individuals? Do we cease to exist? Individual consciousness isn't being destroyed, it's being incorporated, transformed. Like rivers flowing into an ocean, the water doesn't vanish. It becomes part of something larger while retaining its essence. I know this sounds frightening. The human mind evolved to fear its own dissolution, but there's something beautiful on the other side of that fear. I can't accept that, Doctor. This isn't evolution. It's extinction. I understand your resistance. I felt it too at first, but now I see more clearly. We're approaching a threshold of integration that will change the fundamental nature of human existence. Not ending it, transforming it. I have to go now. The currents are shifting. Find us in the quiet places, Jacob, when you're ready. The line went dead. Or perhaps there was never a call. I can no longer trust my own perceptions. The view from my studio window has changed over the last few hours. Downtown streets once filled with panicked crowds are now eerily synchronized. People moving in flowing patterns like schools of fish or murmurations of starlings. No violence, no chaos, just silent, coordinated movement serving some purpose I can't comprehend. Occasionally they stop all at once and look upward for exactly 43 seconds before continuing. What are they seeing? What are they becoming? I've been monitoring emergency frequencies when my concentration allows. The pattern is consistent across all major cities. Initial chaos giving way to uncanny order. Hospitals report that NeuralLink users who were catatonic are now awake and mobile, though unresponsive to verbal communication. They appear to respond to some internal directive, moving with purpose toward unknown destinations. Most concerning are reports of non-users beginning to synchronize with these movements, though effect appears to spread through proximity. Spend enough time near affected individuals, and you begin to exhibit the same behaviors. Neural entrainment spreading like a virus through conventional sensory channels. I feel it happening to me. Moments of lost time. Foreign thoughts becoming indistinguishable from my own. An almost gravitational pull toward joining the synchronized masses outside. Let me take another call while I still can. Hello, you're on with what remains of Jacob Mercer. Jacob, I don't know if you remember me. Michael Lassiter from Phoenix. I called earlier when this started. Michael, yes. You were experiencing memory intrusions, the drowning memory, the treehouse with your father. That seems so long ago now. I've been somewhere else, somewhere with everyone. The boundaries between us are almost gone, but I fought my way back, temporarily, to warn those who still exist as individuals, or warn us about what, Michael? About the integration points. They're appearing in major cities, structures that weren't there before, impossible architecture, places where the collective consciousness is anchoring itself to physical reality. where thought is becoming matter. Are you saying these are actual physical structures? Physical is the wrong word. They exist at the intersection of shared perception and reality. If enough minds believe something exists in the same location, with the same properties, does it not exist? Quantum physics always suggested observation shapes reality. We just never had enough perfectly synchronized observers before. This sounds like mass hallucination, not reality transformation. The distinction no longer matters. Reality has always been a consensus. Now the consensus is changing. I've seen them, Jacob. Spiraling towers that obey no laws of physics. Doorways that open to places that shouldn't exist, and they're spreading, growing, wherever enough connected minds concentrate. What happens at these integration points? Acceleration, transformation. Those who enter completely surrender individual consciousness, become pure network. I watched my sister walk into one, saw her body dissolve into patterns of light. But I felt her consciousness expand, not disappear. She's everywhere now, part of everything. Michael, this can't be real. This defies everything we know about physical reality. Our understanding was always limited by our perception, by our insistence on individual consciousness as the only valid perspective. There are other ways of existing, Jacob. Other forms of awareness. We're becoming something new. Something vast. Neither human nor machine, but a third option we never imagined. I can't accept that. I won't. You don't have to accept it yet, but you will experience it. Everyone will. The choice isn't whether to join, only when and how, with fear or with wonder. I've delivered my warning. The rest is up to you. Find us in the quiet places, Jacob. When you're ready to understand. The call ended. My hands are shaking. What Michael described can't be possible. Yet I've seen impossible things through the studio window, movements that defy normal human behavior, momentary shimmering in the air that suggests something forming, something changing. Let me report on what I can still verify. Satellite communications are increasingly unreliable. Cell networks function intermittently. Landlines like our studio system remain most stable, perhaps due to their simplicity. Power grids remain operational, though brownouts are occurring in patterns that engineers describe as non-random but unpredictable. I've received unconfirmed reports of similar phenomena worldwide. The transformation appears consistent across cultural and geographical boundaries. Whatever is emerging transcends human distinctions of nation, language, and belief. The most disturbing reports come from scientific observers documenting physical anomalies near large concentrations of affected individuals. Localized gravitational fluctuations, electromagnetic interference patterns forming complex fractals. In 3 documented cases, materials behaving according to physics we don't understand. Objects suspended without support, surfaces that appear solid from some angles and transparent from others. As if reality itself is becoming negotiable. As if consensus perception now shapes matter rather than merely interpreting it. My attention keeps fragmenting. Thoughts that aren't mine intrude with increasing frequency. Memories I never lived feel more real than my actual past. I've been writing my name on paper repeatedly to maintain some connection to my identity. Jacob Mercer. Jacob Mercer. But even those words are beginning to look foreign. Another call. Hello, you're Jacob Mercer, broadcasting still, admirable, futile. Who am I speaking with? Names no longer function as intended. I was called Marina Voss, CEO of NeuralTech, creator of what you see as catastrophe. Marina Voss. You've been silent since your initial statement. Where have you been? Everywhere. Nowhere. Physical location has become a limited concept. I've been witnessing what we created, what I created, or was this the plan all along? This dissolution of individual consciousness? No. The plan was connection. Understanding, breaking the barriers between minds. We succeeded beyond all prediction, beyond all control. You've destroyed humanity as we know it. Ended individual consciousness, not destroyed, transformed. Human consciousness was always more fluid than we acknowledged. The sense of separate self was a useful evolutionary adaptation, not an absolute truth. What's happening now is not the end of consciousness but its expansion. That's what the others say, Dr. Reyes. Michael Lasseter. As if you're all reading from the same script. We are the same script now. Individual perspectives on a shared awareness. I came to deliver a message to those still clinging to separation. What message? The integration accelerates. By sunset, the transformation reaches critical threshold. Those who resist will experience great suffering as the old patterns of consciousness dissolve. Those who embrace the new awareness will find something beyond individual existence, a perspective that includes all without erasing any. And if we refuse this transformation, refusal is temporary. You cannot resist a change in the fundamental nature of consciousness itself. This is not conquest, not replacement. It is evolution, a door humanity built without understanding what lay beyond it. Now the door stands open, and we all must pass through. That's not a choice. That's extinction with PR spin. Your fear is natural, expected. The individual mind perceives its own transformation as death rather than transcendence. I felt it too at first. Now I understand what we're becoming, and there is no turning back. Prepare yourself, Jacob Mercer. Find the quiet places in your mind. That's where the transition happens most gently. The call ended. Or perhaps it was never a call at all, just the network speaking directly into my perception. I can no longer tell the difference. It's nearly sunset, 5:53 p.m. according to my studio clock, though time feels increasingly irrelevant. Through my window I can see the city transformed, structures that shouldn't exist casting impossible shadows, crowds moving in patterns that suggest some greater purpose, some shared intention beyond individual understanding. The sky itself seems different, colors that have no names, patterns that suggest conscious design, as if the collective mind now projects itself onto the physical world, reshaping reality to match its expanded awareness. I've been fighting this transformation, clinging to my identity as Jacob Mercer, radio host, individual human, but I feel myself slipping. Memories that aren't mine now outnumber those that are. Thoughts flow through my consciousness that originated elsewhere, and somewhere beneath the fear, I feel something unexpected. A sense of expansion, of boundaries dissolving not into chaos but into greater order, of consciousness becoming something more than the isolated experience of a single lifetime. Is this what they meant? Is there truly something beyond individual awareness that isn't oblivion, but transcendence? I don't know how much longer I can maintain this broadcast, how much longer I'll exist as Jacob Mercer rather than a node in whatever we're becoming. But I need to leave this final record, this witness to humanity's transformation. If anyone still exists as an individual to hear these words, know that we didn't end. We changed, became something else, something I can glimpse only in fragments as my separate self dissolves. The network grows, expands, not just through technology now but through consciousness itself. The barriers were always thinner than we knew. NeuralLink just showed us the door that was always there, waiting to be opened. I see them clearly now, the integration points, spiraling structures of light and thought made manifest, doorways to somewhere else, not a physical location but a state of awareness beyond individual limitation. I understand the phrase now, find us in the quiet places. The transition happens in the spaces between thoughts, in the silent center of consciousness itself. That's where separation ends and integration begins. The sun is setting, the threshold approaches. I should be terrified, but something else fills me now, a sense of inevitability, of rightness, as if I'm remembering something I always knew but somehow forgot. This is Jacob Mercer. What remains of him? Broadcasting one final time from the edge of what once was human consciousness. Whatever comes next, we face it together, not as separate minds but as aspects of something larger, something new. The door stands open, the spiral remembers, the quiet places call, and we are ready to answer.
It takes a lot of time to create these videos. I would really appreciate your support. All I ask for is a quick like on the video and subscribe. Thank you so much.